Before we visit the exhibition, let us first take in the sights of the city. The Kremlin, rising up from the Moscow River. Inside its walls are many historic buildings, all now in government use. St. Basil served the Bolsheviks as an anti-religious museum. But today's tradition-conscious Reds are transforming it into a shrine, denying legends that its architect was blinded to prevent him from ever again creating anything so astonishing. On our tour, we found most of Moscow's 5 million people bustling like any Main Street crowd. Also most orderly in obeying traffic guides, particularly on Red Square, where Russia's dearth of cars is least noticeable. And here was the most pleasant sight on our wanderings, a free enterprise flower mart near the Red Square railway station. We took a turn in the State Department store, known as GUM, another Red Square attraction. Minus the competition that exists on any American main street, it can afford a lot of spaciousness, providing vantages for observing eyes to discourage shoplifting, an almost understandable transgression in a city where consumer dry goods are always in short supply. However, in the state food stores, provisions we discovered were plentiful and cheap. A quart of milk costing in rubles and kopecks the equivalent of 55 cents. A pound of margarine, 76 cents. Then, in the shadow of the Kremlin Grand Palace, we came upon what the Muscovites call an open market. Another last stand of free enterprise where peasants, after satisfying quota requirements, may dispose of their surpluses, keeping the profits. Traditional homes and a modern development was a contrast we encountered when we set up to film a slice of child life on our way to the fair. Our pictures of this healthy group confirming reports that youngsters fare well. On the outskirts of Moscow, we recorded considerable work in progress to alleviate the housing shortage that bedevils the city's commissars. Block after block of apartments that keep the broad avenues radiating from the Kremlin trembling with supply trucks. But while Sputniks and Luniks roam the heavens, these buildings seem to confirm reports that Soviet architects are behind the times. Their edifices, drab. Only the other day, Roland Evans, Jr., cabling to the New York Herald Tribune from behind the Iron Curtain, reported, "The new architecture of the workers' paradise is shapeless, gloomy, and devoid of artistic reality. In the words of a cynic, it is, quote, functional, and functional over here means the cheapest way possible," end quote. Tragic, when one can't even say they lack the touch of a woman's hand. However, we saw the Reds were expert in concocting diverting slogans. Before we left the building sites, we got another sidelight on the completeness of the emancipation of women in the USSR. Following a fleet of trucks returning to supply depots for more materials for the housing developments, after recording what we thought was enough of housing to give you an idea, we stowed our equipment and rolled toward the center of the city, stopping on the way to let our objective camera report that in the commissar's commune, things are not so tawdry. We then found the towering University of Moscow, as befits a nation undertaking a crash educational program, the city's second most compelling sight. Its adjoining Lenin Stadium and campus, a spread that gave us these impressive exposures. After which we found peace, the symbol of the Soviets' war cry. We finished our grand tour back in Red Square by recording a recorder in another medium to give you the first pictures to ever come uncensored from the shadow of Spassky Tower. As we were in Moscow as part of Vice President Nixon's official party, protocol suggested a call at Spasso House, where Moscow policemen were stationed to keep Russian citizens from calling on our envoy. At long last, we reached the fair, dominated by this gold-anodized geodesic domed building. In the year 1959, from July 25th to September 4th, an enclave of the United States officially called the American National Exhibition in Moscow, to which, in spite of Soviet newspaper belittling, capacity crowds of Russian people streamed under the geodesic dome information center. As a citizen of the United States, one could not enter these walks without a lifting of the spirit. It was a singularly noble exhibition of a young and free people's culture in the center of the fettered life of the Soviet Union. It spoke of the advantages of democracy, the fruits of liberty, reflected, too, the generosity of a noble way of life, with its offers to share its booms with people everywhere. It was in the fair's exhibition hall the devices the USA would make available the world round were on display, intriguing the Muscovites to linger long to marvel at that contrivance of American ingenuity, an arrangement of appliances that enabled the demonstrators with simplicity and speed to whip up enticing dishes from the most complicated of recipes, culinary masterpieces accomplished with split-second timeliness by a trio of the RCA Whirlpool Corporation's kitchen appliances. Refrigerator, an oven, and the countertop range, the everyday familiars of the American housewife that consistently guarantee the achievement of culinary masterpieces, creations worthy of a professional chef. This busy young distributor was stationed outside the most exciting preview presented at the exhibition. Without her explanatory handouts, bewilderment could have been compounded to a degree beyond the capacity of any Soviet citizen to withstand. The Whirlpool Corporation's Miracle Kitchen of the future, was the remarkable cause of the astonishment. When we filmed this home scanning TV set and recalled a mischievous childhood, we were satisfied we weren't born a minute too soon. They actually couldn't believe their eyes when in the air-conditioned Miracle Kitchen, a self-propelled serving cart left the wall to move to the table with a complete dinner service. Although they could not, you'll have to believe us when we say our heroine will receive the soiled service, return to her nook, dispose of waste, and then do the dishes. The mechanical maid, which vacuums, washes, waxes, and polishes the floor, pursuing a predetermined pattern, further intrigued the Russian people. Our demonstrator didn't even need a lamp to make the kitchen cabinets respond to her rubs. They had ice pellets all ready, and in a nonce, Our Lady Aladdin was able to enjoy a cooling, soft drink. Ladies and gentlemen, said she, when it comes to delivering the groceries, here's the infallible system. They weren't convinced till the Miracle Kitchen disgorged their staple. The Russians know their potatoes, and the spuds were the clincher. The propaganda ministry will have a hard time convincing the Soviet citizens who witnessed these demonstrations that they were mesmerized or hypnotized. More than anything else could, the kitchen of today and the Miracle Kitchen of the future provided the peoples of the USSR with fine working examples of U.S. private industry at its best, providing for today while researching and engineering for tomorrow. We concluded our recording of the Miracle Kitchen on the combination washer-dryer because it was unique in its futuristic setting, the only appliance therein that's available at the time to the public, a fact of which the Whirlpool Corporation is very proud. The Whirlpool Corporation was honored for the opportunity to participate in the American exhibition in Moscow. Leaving Moscow, overjoyed at the exhibition, we were reminded of Lincoln's words, "With energy and sleepless vigilance, go forward."